Hello builders, I'm Laszlo and today I'm back with a new video on AWS Application Composer. AWS released Application Composer about 1.5 months ago at AWS reInvent 2022. It is a tool that allows you to visually design and build serverless applications. You can just drag and drop components in a visual workflow, and Application Composer will create the infrastructure code for you. It essentially outputs a YAML template that is compatible with the AWS Serverless Application Model, or AWSM, or CloudFormation. And then you can deploy this template using your usual deployment flows, and you have all the components that you need to build the business logic of your application. Of course, it will not generate business logic code for you, but you will have the initial boilerplate code to get started quickly. So, because I think the best way to understand this tool is to see it in action, let's actually try it out and see how it works. Before we do that, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and if you want to get future updates, then also click on the bell notification icon. Also, please stay until the end when I will present you some of my thoughts on this tool. Essentially, it will be a short review with what I find good about it and what I find not so good about it. So let's get started with the walkthrough. Here I am in the AWS console. Here I click on Services, Developer Tools, and here I can find Application Composer. So let's click on it. I'm greeted with this screen where I'm told that Composer is currently in preview, so it's not a final product. They are still working on it. I have the option to open a demo or to create a project, and I'm going to do that. I can either create a new blank project or load an existing project, which can be a CloudFormation template, for example. I'm going to proceed with a new blank project, but I have to choose if I want connected or unconnected mode. So connected mode allows me to select a folder on my local machine. I'm going to do that. Here I'm going to go down and go to this folder, Application Composer, where I'm going to create demo and select this one. I have to agree that it can view the file. So Application Composer will save my template that it generates for me there on my local machine, and it will keep it synchronized. So whenever I change something on either part, so either if I modify it here on the console, or I modify it on, let's say, Visual Studio Code on my machine, it will keep the other part synchronized, so the other side. So this is a two-way synchronization. Then I could either choose unconnected. This will only create the template here, would not synchronize it to your local machine, so you would have to keep it updated yourself. I'm going to proceed with connected. Click on create. I have to save the changes to demo, and I have this blank canvas to start with. I'm going to close this quick tour. And in the left side, I have these components, which I can drag and drop. So let's drag API Gateway. So I'm adding an API Gateway component on my application. I have a default route, which is a GET. So I want to change this. And I have some options to change from this right side panel. I'm going to scroll down to routes, and I have this get. I'm going to change this to products. Click on save. And I want to add and connect a Lambda function to this route. So let's drag a Lambda function. Here again, I have the details. I'm going to call this one the list products function. I can change the package type to zip or Docker image. The source path, let's call this one also list products. I'm going to change the Node.js version to 16. And you see that it will remember what I've chosen here, and it will create the other Lambda functions in the same runtime. And I will change the memory to 128 megabytes for this function. And click on Save. So I have this Lambda function. Now I have to connect them together. I can do that by just clicking here and dragging like this. And it will connect these two components. So when it connects the components, three things will happen. So first of all, here it will create an IAM role, and it will assign the necessary permissions for API gateway to invoke the Lambda function. The second thing it will do is that it will set the necessary triggers or events so the communication flow is established. And also a third thing is that it will create some environment variables in some cases. We're going to see that later with DynamoDB tables. So I've done this. Let's look at the template. You can look at the template it generated by clicking here on template. You see I have an API gateway with the prod stage, and I also have the serverless function and also a log group here at the end. So this is the template. And if I'm going to open Visual Studio Code, I'm going to open this folder. You see I have this template automatically saved to my local machine. And I said this is a two-way connection. So if I go here and change this 128 megabytes for the memory to 512, for example, save it. And let's go back to Application Composer. You see external file changes have been auto-loaded. So if I click on the details of this Lambda function and scroll down, you see it's 512 megabytes. So it has synchronized this back from my local machine to Application Composer. Okay, but now wouldn't it be great if we had here a deploy button to automatically deploy this to AWS? Yeah, I think it would be nice, but we don't have a deploy here. So we cannot deploy this template. We have to do it from the local machine. Now in the development version, when you're working on development, you can do that with, for example, samsync. You have to give it a stack name. Just a moment. Stack name, let's call it Application Composer stuff. And let's issue this samsync. What it will do, yeah, I have to change to the demo folder. And now if I do this, it will build the application and it will create a CloudFormation stack for me. So let's go to CloudFormation. You see that I have a create in progress for this Application Composer stuff. We're going to leave it for a while to create its resources. Let's go back to Application Composer and let's look at some other things while that happens. So I can create so-called groups. You have this group option here. Let's create a group. I'm going to call this API compute. Let's save this. And I can add another Lambda function here in this group. You see, this will be my, sorry, let's click on arrange. It will automatically arrange this for us. So this will be my create product function. So let's call it create product. Here also create product. It will put Node.js 16 because it remembers I've chosen that one, but it doesn't remember the memory. So I will change it to 128 and click on save. Now I have to go to the API gateway and create another route. Add the route. This will be a post. So let's call these products as well. So whenever I want to create a new item, I will create a post request here. I have to connect these together. So they are connected. Yeah, it's a bit strange. This one should be on the upper side. Okay. Now it's better. You can see it how it goes. And now one other thing I want to show you here, how this group is being saved. If you go to the template and scroll down, here you have some metadata. And here it saves the groups, so AWS Composer groups. And it will show you the members, and it saves this actually in the CloudFormation template. So whenever you load back this project, the groups will be preserved. So that's how it is. Now let's see our stack. It's create complete. So if we open the stack, we see that it has created some resources for us. So it created the list products role, log group, permissions, the function itself, the list products, a nested stack for layers, and then the API gateway stage and deployment and the gateway itself. So it created all this stuff. But now if I go back to CloudFormation, sorry, the SAM template, you see I have another function. I would have to run again SAM sync, but you can also use this watch option. So if you use the watch command, watch option, basically it would keep looking for changes and update the CloudFormation stack as you go. So this is how you can keep the two things synchronized. I'm just going to run SAM sync again to create that function, that list products function. So okay, now let's also add the database layer. So let's add the DynamoDB table. Let me put these here. This will be the products table. Let's click on save. It automatically arranged it. I want to add this to a database layer. So this will be the database group. Okay. And I want to connect the Lambda functions with the DynamoDB table. And I can do that by just dragging this like this. And what it will happen in the template, if we look at it, it added some environment variables for the Lambda functions. So it added the table name, as it's a reference to the products table, and the RN of the products table. Then it also added the DynamoDB CRUD policy, so we can basically talk from the Lambda function to the API, to the DynamoDB table. And it has done so for both of the functions. You can see it here. And here we have the DynamoDB table itself. Now you see it set the billing mode, pay per request. So it's setting some things on its own. If we go back to the canvas and look at the details for the database table, you see that we cannot change too much here. We have the products, the name, the logical ID. We have the partition key, what type of partition key it is. We can add the sort key, expiration key, but not much more. So we cannot set the billing mode for this table. So will it be an on-demand table or a provisioned capacity table? We cannot set that from here. So very few options for DynamoDB, and this is the case with many of the components. We cannot set everything here. So that's one of the missing features of this product. I'm going to come back in the review later on these shortcomings of the product. So meantime, it should have added also this to my, you see, to my SAM template. It's here. I could again run SAM sync and it would create just the DynamoDB table for me. It will do that. But while it's doing that, I want to show you something else. So I can add some things here in this SAM template that are not supported here on Composer. So you see, we don't have an RDS database, so RDS is not supported. That is not a serverless product, but sometimes you might need to use an RDS database. So if you want to add it to your diagram, you can just go here and add the database as well. Of course, normally you wouldn't use together DynamoDB and RDS, but let's just, for the sake of this demo, add RDS database. And I'm pasting a snippet for that. I'm saving it. And what it will happen now, if I go back, you see it automatically added it here, MyDB, which is a read-only. So it's a read-only component. If I click on details, it will show me this CloudFormation code. I'm not able to modify this here. To modify the resource, edit its template code. So this is how you can add resources not supported. It will automatically load them. Let's see, can I add it to the group? Yeah, I can add it to the database group as well. But I think you cannot connect it. Yeah, so connection to this is not supported. So you could add some other things. For example, you could add, for example, an SNS topic here. So whenever a product is created, you could send a notification to a topic, an SNS topic. Let's rename this to product notifications. And you see here the only option I can set is if this is going to be a FIFO topic or not. And that's pretty much it. We could add some other components here, but you understand how this works. Just try it out and add all these components, play around with it. You will see how it works. Just I'm going to go back quickly to my Visual Studio Code, and you see that the latest sync that I've done, what it did, it created the products table, and also updated the roles and the functions with the necessary permissions and so on. So this is what I wanted to show you with Application Composer. Let's click on Arrange to make it look better. Okay, this is Application Composer. Now let's see my opinion on this product. So the good things. It's a good way to visually build an initial version of your app. So you see, you can add components. It will automatically generate the template for you. And you can do quick prototyping with this if you need that. It has this powerful synchronization feature called connected mode. And you can use something to synchronize it to your development account. Unfortunately, there is no direct deployment option, but I'm going to mention that at the not so good things. And it's free to use, so you don't have to pay anything extra for this product. You just pay for the resources it creates. Now, the not so good things, not all AWS services are covered. You see that it only supports mostly serverless components. But you can add in the CloudFormation template also the resources that are not supported. However, they will be read-only. There's no deployment option yet, as you could see, but I'm thinking they are working on this product, and maybe they add also the button there to deploy it to your account. The big drawback I find is that many service settings are missing. You've seen that for DynamoDB, for example, we can only set a very few options. We cannot set the table capacity from there. It will automatically default to pay per request. So that's for DynamoDB, but the other services have these problems as well. So this is a very big drawback, because you have to go in and change everything in the template file. And then we come to the next not so good thing. Because of that the service settings are missing, this will have limited use cases once you have your initial project built, because many times you will have to go and change all those settings again and again while you are iterating over your project. And this initial phase where you just drag and drop things, this lasts for a very short time. This happens at the beginning of the project. You do it in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, even let's say you do it for a day, but then you're going to have to go and change settings, the service settings, and then you have to go into the template, and basically the interface of Application Composer is useless at that point. So I have this problem with it, that I see it as limited to just bootstrapping a project at the beginning and then just not using it that much after that, because you have to go and change everything manually. Also, you don't have the deployment option there as well. But maybe they are working on it. Actually, I'm sure they are working on it, and they will add more features, more service settings will be there. However, they will not be able to replicate everything, because that would mean they have to duplicate everything from the AWS console to be there in Application Composer as well. I just don't see that happening. Then I have also some questions. For example, why this was not built into Cloud9? Cloud9 is a cloud IDE that we use for developing, and it would have been a natural progression for Cloud9 to have these features built into it, because it also handles the SAM templates as well. So it would have been a natural fit to build these two together. I don't see why it had to be a separate product. This should have been part of the IDE, in my opinion. Also, why there is no CDK support? That's the other question. You could have generated a CDK boilerplate code to get started quickly with a CDK app for a serverless application. That would have been a big plus for this tool. So it's not there. Maybe it will be coming, I don't know, but yeah. So this was my short video on Application Composer. I think it's a good tool to play around and get a feeling of how you can build application with this visual workflow. But for now it has limited use cases. We'll have to see what are they going to add to it to make it more appealing. So that's it for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then click on the subscribe button, like the video, share it, and I hope to see you soon with another video here on Majestic.cloud.